welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a really close look actually, at something new happening, right, where AI, global investment, and untapped opportunity meet. Our goal here is to unpack some of the complexities around investing in early-stage AI and explore how a new platform is trying to, well, transform access. For everyone involved, really, investors, startups. Okay, let's unpack this. So the sources we looked at paint this picture of, huge AI market. They're projecting $15.8 trillion. That's generational wealth potential right there. But here's the catch, the challenge. About 95% of that value, it's currently funneled into just a handful of deals, mostly in places like Silicon Valley, which leaves this massive opportunity kind of untouched outside those usual networks. It feels pretty inefficient globally.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is exactly that imbalance. You've got these emerging markets, right? The deal flow there for high-quality AI is often, well, hard to get for most investors, but the talent is definitely there, loads of it.
Right.
And you see valuations that are, wow, way lower, often 5 to 10 times cheaper than Silicon Valley. Plus, the actual needs in those markets are immense. These are like fundamental problems AI could solve. So the real question becomes, how do you, bridge that gap effectively?
And that seems to be where EON Venture Bridge steps in.
Yeah.
According to our sources, it's this new platform from EON AI Ventures. They've partnered strategically with EON Reality, the global XR and AI company, specifically to tackle these access and risk problems we're talking about.
Yeah.
The idea is it acts as a sort of professional, trusted bridge to these global opportunities, but for accredited investors.
Okay, so we've kind of laid out the problem and the proposed solution. But what makes EON Venture Bridge different? The sources are pretty clear. It's not just another, say, crowdfunding site.
Right, not just listing.
Exactly, or a simple deal list. They describe it more as a complete ecosystem, end-to-end, one that actually creates and funds the companies it shows you.
That's a key point.
It sounds like a pretty fundamental shift from the usual early-stage investment model. Definitely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the how involves this really powerful synergy. It starts with something called the EON Wealth Weaver Incubator.
Okay.
That's run by EON Reality. And this incubator, it systematically finds and develops these top-tier entrepreneurs. They go through a pretty intensive 3-month program. And they don't just graduate with an idea. No, they come out with a business model that's proven, a product that works. And this is crucial, validated customer demand.
Validated demand, okay.
Yeah. And then the EON Venture Bridge becomes the exclusive way for these curated, kind of de-risked companies to get capital.
So the platform gets these pre-vetted companies. Makes sense. Now let's dig into what the sources call their unfair advantage. Technology and distribution seem key here. Technology-wise, the platform's built on EON Reality's XR tech stack. That's extended reality, VR, AR, all that. It's a big investment, over $50 million apparently. And this tech allows for some unique stuff like immersive VR for due diligence and AI matching investors to startups.
Right. It's not just reading PDFs.
Yeah, exactly. It's way more interactive, deeper engagement. And then there's distribution. This is big too. Once a company gets funded, they get plugged right into EON Reality's global network, which has like 136 million users.
That's the number. Yeah. Huge network.
And potentially access to over $2 billion in government contracts EON Reality already has.
Correct.
So that tackles customer acquisition head on, which, as we know, is why so many startups fail, right? Finding customers.
It's often the biggest hurdle. This gives them a path, potentially from day one.
Okay, so this whole systematic approach, the sources argue, leads to a systematically superior model. Let's look at the benefits for accredited investors first. 1, you get access to exclusive deals, curated ones. Investing in pre-IPO AI companies maybe 2-3 years before they might go public.
And much cheaper.
And at those valuations we talked about, 5 to 10 times cheaper than Silicon Valley. That's significant. 2, systematic risk mitigation. You're investing in companies that have already been through that rigorous incubator. They report a 75% success rate.
Which is dramatically higher than the usual, 5% for random startups?
Exactly. That 75% presumably comes from that whole de-risking process.
Yeah.
And then there's the XR due diligence again. Moving beyond just guesswork, doing virtual tours, interacting with 3D financial models, meeting CEOs globally in VR. It's meant to give investors real confidence.
A totally different feel for the company.
Totally. Plus, enhanced liquidity. The structure is apparently designed for multiple exit paths, potentially offering liquidity in 18 to 36 months.
Which avoids that typical 7 to 10-year VC lockup.
Right. Much faster potential turnaround.
And it's really a two-way street. The benefits for the startups themselves are just as transformative. Think about that accelerated path to market, going from garage to IPO ready in maybe 18 months. The industry average is like 7 years.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
Huge. And solving that customer acquisition problem immediately, getting plugged into 136 million users on day one, that's critical.
Takes away a massive headache.
Absolutely. And it even gives them an edge in fundraising itself. Using those XR presentations, the sources suggest they get like a 6x better closing rate with investors.
6 times?
Yeah, and potentially a 40% bump in valuation just from the presentation style. It really changes the dynamic of building and funding a startup.
Okay, so let's quickly compare this to, say, traditional VCs or accelerators based on what the sources say. Deal sourcing, for example. EON Venture Bridge is described as curated, global, data-driven versus traditional methods, which can be more network-based, maybe subjective, often geographically limited.
Right, often relies on who you know.
Then the fees.
Yeah.
EON has a 6% one-time cash fee paid by the startup. That sounds different from, say, Y Combinator taking 7% equity forever, or the typical VC 2 and 20 model.
Very different structures, yeah. And the due diligence, as we've covered, immersive XR versus static PDFs and calls, it's a fundamental shift in how you evaluate an opportunity, which brings up an important question. What kind of companies are we actually talking about here? What problems are they solving? The focus seems to be on pretty fundamental issues, especially in high-growth sectors. The use cases really help illustrate this.
Okay, like what?
Take agricultural AI in, say, emerging Africa, an AI agent using satellite data, sensor data, to give small farmers specific advice on irrigation, pest control. That directly tackles food security, potentially boosting crop yields by like 40%. That's massive.
Okay.
Or think about healthcare AI in Latin America. An AI tool helping doctors in remote clinics analyze medical images, patient data, improving access and accuracy where it's desperately needed.
Making expertise available remotely.
Exactly. Or fintech AI in Southeast Asia, using AI to do credit scoring for people who are underbanked, looking at alternative data. That unlocks financial services for millions.
So really foundational applications of AI in key sectors.
Precisely. Solving real-world problems with significant market needs.
So what does this all mean? If we boil it down for you, the listener, and think about the bigger AI investment picture, the core idea behind EON Venture Bridge, based on these sources, seems to be unlocking that global AI potential, providing investors with de-risked returns by systematically developing these ventures first, giving them instant global distribution, and really changing the due diligence game with that immersive tech.
Yeah, it ties back to that broader vision from EON AI Ventures and EON Reality, making knowledge, making opportunity available, accessible, affordable. Globally, it's an attempt to democratize access really to this transformative tech wave.
And practically speaking, EON Venture Bridge is apparently open now, accepting applications from accredited investors globally. They're operating under the SEC's Regulation D Rule 506C, which for you means they can generally solicit and advertise these offerings, bringing more transparency while still needing investors to be accredited.
Right. It balances reach with investor protection.
So if you want to learn more, maybe apply to join this network. The place to go is www.eoniaventures.com. That's EONIAVentures.com. It definitely leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? As AI keeps reshaping everything, how will models like this one actually democratize access? Access to the opportunities, the solutions that could really define our future, well beyond the usual hubs. Lots to consider there. We hope this deep dive gave you some valuable insights.